get onto Ruler as easily as they did in Game 1.
Now let's have a look at how the draft goes down, presented by Omen and HyperX. Rise and Trundle banned away by GenG on the blue side, which they picked to be on. Skarner and Talia were moved so far by anyone's legend.
For GenG, wonder what the pivot is going to be. Most likely early jungle prio here. Devi is a pick that I was about to say, if they don't ban it themselves, most likely is going to get picked up here. I like the Skarner ban from AL. GenG is the only team that in the LCK consistently can make the champion look good. Does mean that so far the Azir is still open. I'm expecting that to be the final ban.
Yeah, and ooh, the bar is coming through, which does leave the Azir up potentially for Chovy. And I do want to talk a little bit about Shanks and Chovy again before we see more picks go through in this draft, just because that was another huge question for me, was would Shanks be able to kind of control Chovy? And I thought he did do a good job in that. And yeah, you're never taking this Azir A, away from the LCK, but B, also just a champion on which Chovy can control entire team fights, can leave lane, roam to sides. He's just so good on this pick.
Has had absolutely crazy plays on this consistently over the last couple of years. Obviously a lot of big aura Azir players in the region, but he finds a way to keep surprising us. We love the Poppy pickup here. We often see that combined because you can very easily slam people into the wall. It's also a good pick into the Azir. Takes away a lot of his playmaking potential. Needs to be a lot more considerate when that W is up. And again, you basically have a very similar core where what I think will be Tarzan combined with Shanks will have the ability to pick off single targets.
Yeah, and this is huge to me because TF at this tournament, we haven't seen it see as much success, I think, as people would have wanted. Or I mean, I love watching really strong Twisted Fate. In fact, in that Hanwha Life series, Chronicler, we did see Chovy kind of piloting that with great success. I mentioned how much I love that composition. The next GenG fan, that's really cute. As we see, the Gwen picked up for Keen on GenG's side.
Does give GenG a pretty heavy magic damage topside. You want a bit of physical damage coming out from your jungler if you are going to play towards that. Also means they're blind picking both mid and top into AL through this first rotation, which is not something we too often see. Obviously, they just really prioritize these two picks. Not really surprising considering how good Keen is on the Gwen and how good, obviously, Chovy is on the Azir.
We're going to see the Nocturne come out here for Canyon. Not necessarily one of his most iconic picks, but I do like it into the TF, having the ability to both follow him when he tries to go for these plays. That was the biggest difference, I think, in game number 1. Not just the ability for AL to pick fights, but how they were able to consistently get backline access. Back then it was Pantheon. I think now Shank's going to be looking to do something similar. And then the Kai'Sa was also a smash hit, as we do see the Jax, obviously, great pickup really into the entire top side of GenG.
Yeah, and again, this is another just Flandre comfort pick, right? Like, I do think he always does well with these kind of picks that do have push insides or able to have him in a side lane. His map awareness is typically very good, and it has been one of the strengths for this AL team.
As we're getting to the second phase of bans, both the bot lanes yet to be picked. That's AD carry and support for both teams. MF is the first ban out by AL. A paranoia bullet time does not sound like the most fun thing to deal with, so no real surprises there that they want to mitigate some of that damage in the darkness.
Got to be looking towards the Nico as well. If you think Nico is annoying to play into when you have full vision, which it is, it doesn't get better.
I do think that, actually.
Yeah, no, I think many of the players at this tournament do as well. But with the Nocturne combo specifically, there's basically no counterplay, right? The ability for Nico to get onto the backline, particularly that TF, can definitely be susceptible to that. So would not mind that seeing it picked up. Instead, it's going to be the Rakan ban here away from Duro.
I mean, Rakan just does a really similar thing, right? You jump on top of the Nocturne, you pop the quickness, it's super easy to get onto that backline and just put down a huge amount of CC and allow the Gwen and the Azir a little bit of time to work their way through whatever frontline is presented to them. GenG, we'll see where they go with their final ban. Could continue to pinch that AD carry pool. Something like an Ezreal, actually, is a nice enough ban when you're playing a Nocturne. Instead, they'll get rid of the Renata, which does make sense if you're looking to play on that front foot in team fights.
Yep, and here we see the Ezreal being hovered. I do expect it to be the Ezreal and not the Smolder. However, I am also curious because obviously if you save R5 counter pick for Kael as support, you can also flex that Poppy into the bottom lane as well and save it for Tarzan to have a jungle counter pick.
Ezreal also good both into the TF, has the ability to just arc and shift away from a gold card, but also into Poppy, one of the few AD carries that is able to not have to worry about getting locked down. It doesn't really matter whether Tarzan is going to play it in jungle or whether it's going to be Kael, as that flex potential obviously does remain in place. So now what is the bot lane going to be for Ruler and Duro? They struggled a little bit in the 2v2, but it didn't really amount to too much. It was really after the laning phase where the trouble for this duo arose, and I don't think that the Anyone's Legend draft is as rough for an AD carry, but still with a Senna, Ruler might be running into a lot of the same issues that he did last time around.
Could quite easily be focused by AL. You've got rapid fire gold cards, obviously, that can lock him down pretty easily. I wonder where Duro will go with the support for this matchup. Nautilus, yep, Emily, you were about to say it.
The old classic, yeah. I will not be surprised to see the Nautilus locked in, pairs super well with the Senna. And additionally, if they do make it through that early laning phase, Senna has a little bit of a rough time, and until she's able to pick up that static Shiv. But this Senna buffing, again, the Gwen going in, the Nocturne going in, the Azir, like, you get to a point where this composition is really difficult to deal with. We see the Nico hover, could be the Braum coming through as well.
Braum into Nautilus, one of the most classic support counters we have ever seen. It's going to be a hard lane for Ruler and Duro, in my opinion.
I like it when it comes to the ability to mitigate this. Nautilus going to be looking to bounce back for all those Genji fans, me included. I would like this to be a nice back and forth of a series. As the level one, want to highlight again, there's Braum, there's Jax. I would be shocked if, even TF, if we don't see an early invade here, and it looks like Genji also keenly aware that this might be happening. And main question is, what is AL going to do with the early jungle control that they have here?
Well, there's a counter invade happening, but that's spotted out on a ward. And Kian and Canyon, I think, will just place a ward of their own. Oh, not even do that, just back away immediately. Now pathing up towards the top side, trying to sneak around here. There's a little bit of mind games happening from Genji, as AL will just control this bot side jungle.
Ooh, we'll see Flandre maybe wants to try and take a look, ward that red buff. Genji, they can't walk in, obviously. Are going to spot here, but ward will get found by Kael and Hope.
Oh, Flandre is going to spot the fact that Canyon's here, and Canyon's not going to have a good time.
He is Jax.
The Jax is so annoying at these early levels, right? We've seen this so much.
Canyon uses the smite. We'll get the fear tether down. Flandre should be able to walk away from this one, as you say. Still 7 seconds on the counter-strike, but can base and then TP back, I guess, or just run to the lane if he really wants to catch this XP.
I think the timing there was too late to do that, basically, because now you are going to be substantially behind in experience.
And as we see how this bot lane 2v2 goes, I am actually curious if Tarzan is going to go for potentially a dive here, because we talked about the level 1 power of this composition, but also just the setup onto this Senna Nautilus with this invade, being able to link up with the push that Kael and Hope have been able to get already.
It just feels really risky, right? He's spotted on vision. We saw both Ruler and Duro pathing back. They've hit the level 2. You have so much CC in Nautilus only with 2 levels, so they'll back away. Yeah,
and he recognizes that. This isn't BLG.
I'm still not over 2023 MSI in shot, diving approximately 15 times. This top side, though, I think that was actually, we'll see how much it actually ends up mattering, but delaying Canyon for a little bit and giving up this much control over the lane, I don't think was the right call. Flandre has held on to his TP and didn't end up missing out on too many minions, but this early laning phase not going to be fun for him.
I mean, the big problem for Flandre as well is it's a split map and he's on the wrong side of it. As Keen flashes in, looking for the kill. Can't quite get it onto Flandre, who does land the counter-strike, and now will recall and then teleport in. You saw pings coming on the next wave from Genji, implying that perhaps they could look for a dive on it, but won't be able to have Canyon come across in time.
It does look like Keen is actually continuously stopping his back. So yeah, he is probably going to have to stay through this wave.
Will manage to do so. Concussive blow is going to land onto Duro. We saw the curse of the black mist going down as well for a little bit of a root. Flandre, though, I mean, it's only a couple more minions, and then he should just be able to recall. The Doran Shield doing quite a lot of work for him there.
Still though, even if he doesn't end up going down, it does allow Keen to take control. Chovy!
Flash forward, Shanks looking for the gold card, didn't lock it in time, and Chovy has the time to flash away. Canyon now with a Fear Tether, Tarzan using the Steadfast Presence for the movement speed, double TPs invested. I really think Flandre is just going to try and jump out of this one afterwards. Does land the counter-strike, but leap strikes to safety.
And Shanks going so low in that after initially trying to get the play on to Chovy. Both mids should be able to just come back, TP to the wave. But yeah, that was... I thought Gen.G would maybe have the counterpunch there.
Well, I thought Gen.G was going to step a little bit back and take a slower pace. They've doubled down instead. A lot of action here early on. Keen straight up flashing on top of Flandre for that level 1. Now Shanks being forced to flash as well. Favorable trade when it comes to the summoners for Gen.G. As this top lane laning phase still remains in a rough spot after the level 1. We'll see if Tarzan is able to kind of bail out Flandre, who without the TP and I think without knowledge of where Canyon is just going to have to abandon ship.
Yeah, this is really rough for him as we see Duro already out on the map looking for a play potentially in this mid lane.
Won't be able to get in range. We saw Teleport coming out from Hope, running that as his summoner spell, so he was able to catch the wave that was pushed in on the top side. Expect to see Keen now pathing down towards bot. He already has Ruler in his top lane.
And we mentioned, you know what happens sometimes if your top lane matchup goes rough, you end up swapping, right? And we see Hope responding, immediately coming to this top side, while Flandre will actually able to get some one-on-one time with the minion wave down here.
There's a little buffer there. I do want to highlight the fact that Shanks doesn't have his flash is a big deal. TF in particular, we've seen this with really any immobile mage that is playing into the Azir. You're at a much higher risk. So I do think actually fighting for prio becomes way more risky, because if you step up and Azir swoops you back, you don't really have a way of dealing with that. And Canyon is approaching that level 6, really just the slightest bit of experience, and he'll have that available.
Yeah, he's about to take over, and the big thing will be, so we see Tarzan for a wraparound.
Keen has no flash here. Tarzan's on his way across. Keen does have the needlework, that level 6 hit. Pops the Hallowed Mist. He's going to try and escape. Tarzan looking for the knock into the wall here. Gets the Hammer Shock down. Picks up the Buckler as well for a bit of shielding. Steadfast Presence coming out just to allow Tarzan the movement speed to walk away. But that's Keen's ultimate down.
And Canyon's going to use that to get himself some chickens here. Just farming up a storm as if there he go!
The paranoia coming out from Canyon. Destiny, the fear procs just in time to stop the escape from Shanks.
And that's exactly what I was looking for from Canyon's first ult, right? We knew he was going to take over with the level 6. The 2v2 is still fighting up here, but I don't think anything's going to come out of that. Really, really nicely done from Gen.G, immediately using that Nocturne ult pretty much as soon as it ticked over.
What we said, no flash available means that Shanks is easy pickings towards the top side. Cute there, Ruler being able to use the Shroud to stealth Duro, so that even though he was stunned, they couldn't get more. Summoner trades, if they're even though, is favorable for AL, because Kyle is sitting. Oh,
Duro! Ignite, Duro flashes. The Mystic Shot was gonna find him, and he will survive. Must be sub 10 HP there.
19, it ticked over in the little thing, but...
Not even close.
Could have been, yeah, could have been... Could have been a little lower before it ticked over as well, but I saw it get as low as 19.
Duro survives, and Ruler able to catch the wave. We'll have another look at this. It's really nice. Canyon with the 6 just jumps in immediately.
Yeah, and this is a super simple play, right? He's on chickens, he takes over, he has the ult. Chovy is already there with the Azir ult. No flash on Shanks, able to capitalize immediately.
I actually, I'm pretty sure he was able to pick up a scuttle before. I think he just wanted the chickens, and then Chovy was like, get over here!
Chovy tried to get away here. The gold card comes in. Flandre with a counter-strike. Doesn't flash for the chase onto Chovy. Tarzan now pulled back, has to flash himself. Shanks has another gold card locked in, and Kyle's on his way to bolster the defenses for AL, but GenG surviving the onslaught for now.
GenG, a member down, don't want to keep going, but look at the bot lane right now. While this is happening, Keen is just going to be able to push in towards that wave. I don't think the Grubs are going to go the way of GenG, which with a composition like this, I think is a big deal. AL also have a lot of split pushing power. We'll see how much GenG is able to get. If they can get Keen even further ahead while also picking up a Dragon, they might not feel too bad about it, but particularly with TF and Jax, and denying it from Gwen and Azir, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and we do see the TPs coming out towards that bot lane, but GenG are going to be able to clean up this Drake. It doesn't look like AL are going to be able to do anything about it, right? So this is more of the classic GenG that we're used to seeing, right? Taking advantage of their timing windows and finding cross-map plays instead of contesting.
We do see Ruler currently behind in gold, but really what you always look towards with the Senna is just a stack counter, and he's pretty much on track, right?
This is really good. 27 at 9 minutes, that's super solid, because you get more as the game goes on, usually a bit easier to pick up as you get a little bit more range. And when you start to take these towers, you can then shadow your jungler a little bit more, because you have more time and pick up the souls from the camp.
It tilts me every time when a Senna bases, when like there's no objective on the map, there's no tempo reason, and then there's 2 souls in the Dragon Pit, and you're like, come on, that's free money!
He's already got shoes, what does he need 2 more souls for?
The range.
That's so bad.
I know, it was really bad, that's fine.
That's terrible. It took me a minute to get that.
Look, okay, there's 1 kill at 10 minutes. This is
great.
It's great. It's really good League of Legends.
This is back to the LCK.
We get to have an opportunity to have a nice chat. Isn't that more valuable?
Well, you just told me my jokes are rubbish, so...
Hey, hey, that one.
Okay,
Not,
true.
I generally, I'm a big fan. I hold you to very high standards, okay? So, really, it's on you when you think about it.
For the moment, 10 minutes in, it's a small gold lead for GenG, around 300 ahead. Keen has been able to even out that top lane a little bit. He's actually 4 CS up. Chovy and Shanks are facing up towards top, and again, Chovy has a very small lead. The only really big advantages is Hope is about 200 gold ahead, Canyon's about 400 gold ahead because of that first blood that he was able to pick up in mid.
Yeah, but I think GenG are super happy with this, right? Like, we did talk about the potential pushing power with having the 3 grubs for AL, but this composition for GenG, once it gets rolling, and especially as it gets late, is going to be very, very difficult for AL to play into.
Flandre, his Counter-Strike, still full health. Shouldn't be too worried. Duro shows up now.
Flandre doesn't use the leap strike yet, does have a ward in his inventory, doesn't even need it, just pops the Counter-Strike and gets away.
That's just Jax.
Yep. I mean, Jax in general. Again, Flandre fell behind a little bit. Obviously not the end of the world. There wasn't really an opportunity for GenG to snowball. If they had a more aggressive pre-6 jungler, I think they could have looked for it. But with Nocturne, not really the case. So we see that Flandre, while he's still a little bit behind, about half a level, a little bit of CS, but not really anything to write home about, as both junglers here towards the bottom half of the map. But obviously Canyon, much easier time to get to these lanes as Duro and Ruler wandering around mid.
Yeah, no real surprises here. Ruler yet to get his static shiv, went for the Swifties first, but when he gets that, obviously very easy for him to clear out waves. As you're not really as good at clearing out waves, he can do it, but it takes him a little bit more time. Doesn't really have any AoE in his kit. So you see Tarzan still shadowing Flandre just to make sure that he is safe under this tower.
And you see the consideration of GenG, like, can we do something there? But again, it's Jax, so neither Nocturne nor Gwen really will be doing a lot of damage. As we do see, of course, the Griffin boys.
The boys.
Yeah.
1-5 career head-to-head.
I was like, it's the 70% win rate on the same team as rookies that surprises me, right? It was such an explosive rise to form for both of them and for the whole team.
It really was like that era of LCK, although internationally, obviously, not the highlight of the region, the Griffin and Dom1 rosters coming up and what they were able to do for the league and their impact still being felt. Even Doran, right, was on this team as well.
True. Yeah, I think I remember being at 2018 Worlds and everyone was just like, oh, if only Griffin had made it. The LCK would have taken it, right? That was kind of the sentiment because this Griffin team meant a lot to the LCK because they were a harbinger of what was to come, right? Kind of a new aggressive team, a shifting, like almost changing of the guard,
it was,
I guess you'd say. And this is why people like me and Chronicler are always like, anytime there's a potential Griffin reunion, we're gonna bring it up.
Such a impactful team. As we look at the game, item spikes, 1 item hits across the board. Nothing too surprising, I think, when it comes to the builds. This TF, though, has really been kept in his lane, not able to make an impact. I do think that there will obviously be the opportunity to try and collapse once we get to the actual objectives, but it doesn't look like AL right now is different. And I want to highlight, I think that AL, when they don't have control of an area compared to last game, will have a much harder time of actually getting on top of GENG.
As we see, not a super pushing Blates game. However, GENG were easily able to get the vision in first rotation onto this Drake, although AL are looking to contest.
Keeper's Verdict comes out, Keen dodges it. Ruler doesn't do the same. Flandre now looking for a flank of his own as Canyon is going to be healed up, but he gets the double counter-strike stun into the Glacial Fissure, and I think Duro is just done for. Flandre will pick up AL's first kill of the game.
Duro, the sacrifice for the Drake.
Someone had to be sacrificed. Might as well be the Nautilus. Ruler did have his flash, but not opting to flash the Poppy ult. And the moment you remember down and the threat of a TF is coming, I think they made the right call not to continue that, as we will get the Dragon going over to GG, and it's Hextech Drake. And I think Hextech Drake, to me, the strongest. Also very happy that we have the Hextech Gates, but I want you to look at the GENG comp. And think about a Hextech, because even just a single Drake, the attack speed is kind of insane.
Senna with Hextech just feels so good.
It's not okay.
It's great.
But
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun if you're the Senna. I do think we saw right there what AL is probably going to be looking to do, which is use the Poppy or the TF to create a numbers advantage, blow someone up, and then go from there.
Yeah, and I think it's a good call from them, right? The fact they were able to get Duro, but GENG now with this composition still scaling very well, have played very patiently, and now have 2 Drakes to their name.
See Shanks using the Destiny a little while ago to get back up towards the top side, I believe. So yet to see the proactive use of that Twisted Fate ultimate. We saw one where he tried to escape Canyon. But, apart from that, it's been mostly just to get back to lanes, to make sure that he can catch the waves at the right time. Rift Herald started here by Canyon, but with vision on it. I think it was more a tentative suggestion of doing the objective than anything else. Ruler looking for the last embrace, doesn't land it onto Hope. Will continue to farm up those stacks. Currently sitting at, I think, about 50, 47 overall.
Yeah.
Level 11 hit. Now AL, if they do entrench themselves in a position, it's on the reverse also hard for GENG to get in. Poppy and Braum are some of the best zone control that you can get. The threat of a counter-strike is always there, and Banana Brush control is there for Kyle. Teleport comes in.
Kyle's going to get hooked, but puts up the Unbreakable immediately. Glacial Fissure going down, only hits onto Duro. Keeper's Verdict being channeled by Tarzan. He doesn't finish it. There's the Paranoia. Chovy looking for the flank position, but he's stunned off first. Canyon falling low, the jump back in with the counter-strike from Flandre. Chovy and Keen, though, on the backline with the Emperor's Divide. Chovy's going to fall Flandre. The Dawning Shadow, he jumps away from it. Keen trying to snip through Shanks, but Shanks flashes the wall. And in the end, a 1-for-1 exchange.
1-for-1, and Hope had hopped into that Herald just to immediately drive it into mid.
Big thing there is that Chovy was CC'd throughout the entirety of that fight effectively. First, got hit by a card, because the initial setup here I think looks good. Tarzan isn't able to get anyone with his ultimate. Ruler is in a safe position and GENG goes in. But here, not able to actually get anything done. And then the moment he goes in, gets CC'd. I think it's Tarzan that slams him into the wall. So when the ult comes out, is enough to be done. And Flandre, a master of stalling in this fight.
Yeah, that, and also he was stuck in the pit with Hope, right? And as he was CC'd, Hope was just able to get that kill onto him on the back half.
That said, GENG this time around, this isn't a must-win fight, right? Like in this case, the composition just scales insanely well, as we have highlighted. Keen's approaching his second item, going for Nashers. Chovy, knowing him, will be going for the Rylai's here. And the next Drake fight, that's going to be a much more pivotal point. If GENG is able to set up a soul point, which I think with how the previous Drake fights have played out, they're going to be looking to do as well, looking to for prior towards that bot side do need to clear all the vision that has been set up there by AL.
Yeah, there's a ton of wards right in there that have already been set up by anyone's legend. And
they're a little bit close together for my liking. I would like them to spread out a little bit more, perhaps.
But the vision in that area is really good.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like you just have two massive spotlights on the area. The rest of the map is dark.
You need to make sure there's no little pockets where someone can hide, you know?
It's true.
It's scary.
It's true.
You see the entirety of the pit and the back of the pit.
It's important.
Big here for Keen, taking that first tower will put GenG either a kill or a neutral objective away from claiming the feats of strength. AL need both a kill and a neutral objective to get it, and that's why the Riptide fight was a little bit important, because it would have put GenG up towards that point, but as we say, not too pivotal in terms of total game states.
Want to highlight, looking at the item, looking at the item finishes, we do have that 2-item spike for the Ezreal, something we very often talk about, means that Hope will have a lot of carry potential in this upcoming fight. No 2 items for anyone else on the map right now.
But the big thing is the damage that GenG have been able to get onto these side lane turrets, right? Chovy able to get damage on that top tier one. He should be able to take that down. Ruler getting the RFC right before this potential Drake contest.
Chovy has his TP. Ooh, see Shanks running from base, didn't have it off the Unshield spellbook. Keeper's Verdict, Tarzan stops the channel on it. There's the Destiny pop to give vision. Keen's going to jump into the pit. The hook lands, Unbreakable going down as well. Depth Charge used onto Hope. Keen trading down towards the bottom side as we see so much damage happening in the pit. Keen's going to get the kill. The Dawning Shadow with the Emperor's Divide in from Chovy, and now it's all on Shanks and Hope to try and survive, but GenG are having none of it. They try and chase them out. The Drake almost killing Chovy. Hope dashes back in, straight into a dredge line, and he gets 2 for it. Shanks looking for a little bit more. Everyone's so low. Has that gold card locked in. Ruler is able to get a bit of range advantage here as Shanks now needs to run away. Has no cards left to pick. Chovy dashes in, and it's the ace for GenG.
And although Hope almost turns it around with a 2-item spike, it's the team fighting from GenG. This time working out nicely. The turn onto Flandre, beautifully done there, and it takes away a lot of the safety for AL.
Yeah, as you see, obviously the TF ult coming down from Vision, but then Keen going in and actually taking Flandre out of the fight, like you mentioned, and then watch Chovy, right? Even though he gets exhausted, is able to get his ult off. Dawning Shadow comes across all of it, and you really, really see the strength of this composition. As it gets rolling, they can kind of just run over you.
I think Tarzan has been a little early on the trigger with these ultimates from the Poppy. A little too telegraphed. You see now twice in a row, not able to get too much crazy value of it. And the soul point is picked up. And I want you to look at that man in the top lane. As we've talked about, for a large part of his career has been in, well, I wouldn't want to say Elo hell, but definitely not a great place when it comes to Elo. Now stating 4-0 on biggest individual lead on the map. 2 items done. And this Gwen is only going to get scarier.
Yeah.
That's so insane. Strong right now.
Larger than the team gold lead right now at 2.5k.
Woo.
I see AL do have some tools. I Hope doing so much damage in that last fight. If he's given a bit of time, he can begin to get through GenG, but with the paranoia, with Chovy diving in, with Keen diving in, it's just so difficult for you to do much. Ruler now at 69 stacks. It's a nice number for 22 minutes into the game.
Sorry, I can't help but laugh at that. I'm 5. Another thing I did want to point out, as GenG are starting up this Otacon, is their attention to side waves, right? They've had their side wave pushed out pretty consistently.
Verdict, double TP coming out. Last Embrace going to hit onto the Poppy. Duo knocked up, but I believe he buffered a hook out of that or something. Keen looking for the flank position. AL take control of the Otacon. Ruler low. Shanks has a gold card locked in, but Keen uses the Hallowed Mist to dodge away from it. Counter-strike coming in as well as Tarzan is knocked up and snipped down by Keen. Canyon falling low. He doesn't get the smite off in time. Absolutely anyone's legend will claim the Otacon. No, it's Chovy actually that takes it in the end. As AL now on the retreat, the hook just short. As AL managed to get out, but GenG win the fight.
It was a team effort. Literally everyone showed up on that Otacon feed. And it goes the way of GenG despite a great initial blow from AL. The objective flip turns into a bit of mayhem.
Just absolute chaos. You have 2 unsealed spellbooks for AL. Where are your smites, lads?
Yeah, I was gonna say both junglers taken out too. I was really curious to see who is gonna end up taking it in this one.
And it's Keen that is, I think, the big difference maker. Has to walk out initially, is spotted, but he demands so much attention. And even with Chovy and Ruler being low, we see that Shanks and Flandre need to respect him, and while Kyle as well as Hope are able to take out Canyon, their own jungler also perishes, which means that Chovy on the Azir, able to get that last hit, could have gone either way. And now Gen.G, Soul Point, gold lead maybe not that crazy, but the Otacon going their way. The Senna stacks, the flowers, and the threat of a possible Hextech Soul.
Keen now a full item ahead of Flandre as well, has 2.5 with the Seekers complete. Flandre still just sitting on that Triforce. The last time we were able to see those inventories. Drake up in 1:30, that Hex Soul looms in the distance. AL will have to try and find a way to fight back against Gen.G, who, especially with the paranoia now, with the Riot Eyes, with the Nash's Tooth, with the range on this Senna, like how are you getting onto that backline?
And this is what we were expecting coming in today from Gen.G. They are happy to pick fights, but they're very deliberate when and where. And in this game, they've been turning that early prio into fight selections much better than last game.
And here I was talking about that kind of side lane pressure that they've been able to establish, push out their side lanes, go mid, try to crack this mid turret, kind of take over the map before this next Drake is up in just under a minute.
Neither of the top laners have TP currently. I think Flandre's will be up by the time the Drake spawns. Not quite sure on Keen's, as he now is actually working his way down towards the mid lane, which really implies it wouldn't be up in time. Heal used by anyone's Legends just to get a little bit of extra health underneath this tower. The tower, the target for Gen.G, and they will secure it, put down the Sun Disc as well.
Yeah, the sieging power of this Gen.G comp is obviously disgusting. You have Azir, Gwen, and then also Ruler to keep everyone top, even if you take a little bit of poke. And AL, I think the backs are going to come in, use the Hextech gates to get back in position, because for this Soul, even if you somehow find a Baron angle, I do see some pings going down. I don't think that you're going to be able to make it worth it. You need to deny this from Gen.G, or the game might be over.
Duro lies in wait. Ruler seen
Ward
going into the bush. Anyone's Legends will clear out the ward. They know that Canyon is there as well. Flandre's going to catch the bot wave, uses the counter-strike. There's the Destiny as well for a little bit more vision. Keeper's Verdict comes down. No one is found guilty, and the hook connects immediately. Tarzan has to flash away, and Gen.G haven't lost any health yet. They continue to push forward onto Kyle. Canyon going in with the paranoia as well. Flandre looking for the counter-strike, but all of Gen.G scatter, and he finds no one. He'll go to an early grave as Gen.G turn their eyes towards the Soul.
And again, you see just how difficult it is, even when AL are trying to set up. If Gen.G are parked in a spot, it's so hard for them to come in, even with the TF ult coming through for vision, right?
Hextech Soul is there. AL are going to try for a desperate play. We see multiple TPs coming in. Cal, Hope, both making their way over. And Gen.G, they're trying to respond.
Chovy's already TP'd up towards that top side, has the Emperor's Divide, the only ultimate available for Gen.G.
Keen has his.
7,000 on the Baron. Canyon trying to get in here, doesn't have Smite. Canyon doesn't have Smite and can't secure it, but Gen.G will look for the fight afterwards. Hope might just have to jump out of the back of the pit as the Baron has been taken by anyone's Legend, and Hope just about escapes with his life, then has to flash, but Keen's on the chase. Hope with a good arcane shift over towards the
Hextech Soul!
The Hextech Soul for the slow is enough. Keen gets the kill.
Tarzan's
taking
He's the only one with the Baron buff left. But again, you're going to see immediately they're going to start pushing on the top side. Keen was able to take out that tier 2 in the bot side, and it's looking great for Gen.G.
It's looking good for more games in this series.
Go.
As, yeah, the negative Red Bull Baron power play, generally not one that you want to see, as Tarzan will be able to pick up a little bit, but even if that Baron, as it did, went the way of AL, the fact that not only do they give up a bunch of kills, but give up the Hextech Soul, it's just so hard to imagine that they're going to be able to get any value out of it, as Flandre does have reinforcements on the way, and it looks like Gen.G not really wanting to veer too deep into enemy territory.
Yeah, not sure where Tarzan is, not sure where Kyle is. Now they'll
go
deep and get some vision.
The collapse.
Duro's looking for the flank. Tarzan rooted with the last embrace. Chovy's here as well. Keen's on his way towards the back of the fight. Keeper's verdict coming out will knock away Keen, and perhaps anyone's legend will think this is a fight they can take. They can't.
Canyon.
Right now with the paranoia coming out. Shanks getting chased down. Kyle down to half HP. Tarzan the same. The Hextech Soul doing so much work as Keen comes in and snips them to pieces. Chovy flashing forward. Blandre with the counter-strike once again. Just can't land the stun. GENG wipe away anyone's legend.
And a clean ace for GENG. Heralds the end of the second game. Objectives going their way. The pace pulled back. AL not able to draw them into the chaos the way they did in that game number 1.
Ruler flashing the JDG emote as he sieges in onto the inhibitor and the Nexus.
GENG